Hello there, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Worthit podcast. My name is Thomas, and hi, JD.
Hey Tom, how you doing?
I'm not so bad. Are you getting sick and tired of the quarantine yet? Or
I feel like we've had this conversation many times.
I'm sure
already.
We definitely have. No, we definitely have. It's still not even been that long, and I'm just going crazy a little bit. But oh well, here we are, still recording the
I
podcast.
miss filming, Tom.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy how long it's been since we've had like a proper face-to-face meeting as well. Because
I don't even remember what you look like.
I've changed, JD. I've changed. But hi, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Worthit Podcast. This is number 12. It's going okay. It's like the fourth podcast from home we've done. 2 weeks ago, we had the episode with young Alex, the editor. Last week we had another episode, and then here we are this week. We had an episode prior to that too as well. So this is number 4 of the podcasting from home. And because we double recorded last week, how do you reckon the chat with Alex went?
I thought it was nice. You know, it's always good to keep in contact with him.
It's like an entirely different part of I guess the filmmaking world, editing, isn't it? It's a unique place, and there's very specific things you have to do and say.
It's a very scary place that I don't like going to.
Yeah, they've been thrown straight to the deep end, and talk about editing for me, JD. You can do it. You'll be fine.
No,
you'll be fine.
No.
But
I'm
in
better at social media.
That actually leads us very well onto today's topic, doesn't it? Really, which is of course social media, and how we as Worthit are aiming to build our own social media presence, and the way in which I reckon and you reckon that we should conduct ourselves, because there are certain ways and means that professionals should conduct themselves on the social space. They shouldn't be, like chatting, really bad stuff about each other and bad mouthing on Twitter. And we want to talk a little bit about arguments and all that jazz, everything in between, and see how we can, model and develop our own, not only our company but ourselves on social media too.
Because a social media presence doesn't mean just Worthit as a body. It's each of us in individuals. You, me, Ella, even young Alex.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's so much scope with social media as well, because there's so many different platforms and there's so many different ways in which you can communicate online too. There's just loads and loads of opportunity for us to either capture an audience or to get involved with each other more, keep all of ourselves in the loop, and progress. So obviously one of the biggest reasons to why we as a company and we as people do social media is presence and attractiveness and audience reach allows us to therefore apply for sponsorships and bigger funding and bigger opportunities for us as a company as a whole. And that's the biggest reason.
It's equally just as fun though to just have some fun and banter with people.
Yeah, absolutely, definitely. So let's, I guess, talk about the different types of social media and how we distinguish each one. So, of course, if we start with the biggest, I'd say, Facebook.
Yeah, the giant titan.
Yes. It is easily the biggest platform out there, isn't it? And it's really based around a community feel, isn't it?
Yeah, kind of, because when it comes to social media in our line, we have to make like a separate page for Worthit or us as an individual under a title. But we don't use, say, I wouldn't give my personal Facebook page to complete strangers and be like, nah, just add me, see what I'm going about my day to day.
Yeah, absolutely. So
but I would say go like JD Roberts or JD Justice on Facebook page.
Yeah, absolutely. So it's all about pages, communities, and groups on Facebook, especially for us as an organisation. And people can follow into that, they can like the page, and they can also make conversation on the page as well, can't they?
Yeah.
So that kind of reach and that kind of idea, it allows us to market a very specific media pattern towards that particular social media website. So obviously we do quite a lot of very short video clips and stuff to try and engage an audience. We maybe perhaps might start introducing in the future some conversational topics and elements that people can talk about as well. It's all about trying to get that conversation going on on Facebook with that close knit community, and trying to make sure that you get the biggest and most important thing, which is that click through rate and that ability for people to click onto your stuff and actually then go and watch your films through seeing it on social media. And the biggest,
and then you see it's worth a watch, and then you go watch the rest of them.
Yeah, absolutely. And Facebook, I reckon, is the biggest way in which you can reach out to a bigger audience via the means of advertising, with their pay to promote adverts. So it's very easy to, put like 20, 30, 40, 50, however much you want in pounds onto a certain specific, either a post or a link or just your site in general, and for them to throw it out into a very specific and targeted area. I think when we did On Call, we actually specifically marketed it for 18 to 35-year-olds in the UK only. But there's so much more scope in which you can tailor and target adverts to different people. And sometimes you can, use Facebook templates to make Facebook look at it themselves, and they sort of like set up an advert perfect for you. Or you can manually override that and sort it out yourself. And it's a really useful feature to get noticed, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, like, personally, me, I don't have a massive knowledge into this, because this is where you and Ella shine mostly. I'm more of the they're on site on the day type of guy.
Yeah, it's a strange world, marketing, because you've got to be so on the ball and so on it all the time, constantly, that it's quite... I can imagine if a full-time person who is marketing content on a social media site, it literally takes all day, every day, to be constantly engaging and constantly interacting and constantly posting this, that. Sometimes I just don't have the time for it.
Yeah, like, because like, you see people who are doing it day in, day out. There's tweets going in every 5 minutes. There's an Instagram post, Facebook updates. And how are you getting that time to do that in your own time?
Yeah, especially when you have so much other bits and pieces to do as well.
Yeah, and usually find that they've either scheduled a lot of posts on an add-on or with the servers, or they've got someone else to do it for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think this is the point at which we needed actually Ella to be in on this podcast here to have a listen in and to voice her opinion on how she personally markets her stuff. Maybe that's like a future call up for Ella to, when we all get this storm sorted, when it all blows over, she can come into the studio and we can actually sit down with her and talk about marketing strategies and how Worthit market our stuff. That'd be a really good idea to bring her on to the podcast. But for now, basically, I've got to try my best and try and explain what Ella's job is, and it's not easy because she does loads for us.
She does way more than we do, let's be honest.
And what's great about Ella's job role is it fits in so well for her, because she has that ability to draw and to create artwork and stuff that can revolve around most of our posts. So if, for example, we needed something that needed a graphic going along with it, she has that ability to create it herself, which is absolutely fantastic. And something that we really needed when looking for a social media marketing person who could actually, specifically focus on that stuff. And I'm really glad we actually brought her on board for that reason as well.
She's probably the most perfect person for that job, to be honest.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's move on from Facebook and talk a little bit about Twitter, because Twitter is, again, another very conversational platform, but in a very short format. Obviously, we have the character limit. It's 280 now, is it? Am I right?
I have no idea.
280 characters, I think it is. And there's the utilization of hashtags. It's very easy on Twitter to find what's trending and what's big at the moment and at the time. And I think that's a really easy opportunity for us to jump in on the bandwagon, see what's trending, speak about what's trending, and try and gain an audience from that kind of thing. As long as we don't dive into politics and start talking about who we like and don't like.
It's not like we're going, oh, the election's coming up, but you know who what you could be doing instead? You could be watching our videos and just being an absolute pest on something really serious.
Yeah. It's like getting on the coronavirus 24/7 thing and saying, hey, look at us instead, don't look at coronavirus. That's it's not the way forward, is it?
Lockdown got you down? Hey, guess what you could do?
Here's On Call. No. Here's where we could stay 2 meters apart. So really, on Twitter, you can be. I guess they always say that Twitter's like for kids who just want to argue all the time, which I find quite hilarious. Because there is a lot of arguments on Twitter, and there's a lot of rants and people complaining and all that jazz.
You say that. I see like groups of people making little communities for themselves within Twitter.
Yeah,
and it's nice to see.
Yeah, absolutely. So utilization of hashtags in Twitter is slightly different to that of Instagram. We'll talk about both, obviously, but Twitter's hashtags, we are, I guess, encouraged not to use as many hashtags over on Twitter so we don't spam. And there's something in Instagram where you're able to hide your hashtags within the post so people don't see it straight away. Whereas when you look at Twitter, you want a clean feed. You want to make sure that your tweets look nice and pleasing on the eye. You don't want to spam it full of hashtags and stuff because otherwise it'll look messy and nasty.
And also it takes up your character limitations.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, absolutely. And obviously, as you said then with the character limitations, you need to be as specific and to the point as possible. So you don't want to be creating massive titles for your films and saying, hey, I'm going to start a full conversation on this Twitter thing because you had to be cut off halfway.
And then you get people doing the kind of that messy, multi-layered tweet where they're replying to themselves, but it's just continuing what they were saying.
When they start saying something 1 of 2, 1 of 3, oh man.
When you read a tweet and it says 1 of 15, and you just go, not this.
No thanks. How do they know it's going to be 15 length as well? How did they predict
how
that?
do they know?
Did I write it all out and count the words? I'm impressed. So you get that character limitation, so you've got to be very specific, and it allows us to then focus on what we really want to say, and that really helps us for all of our other social media platforms too. So if we can design a tweet that's the perfect length, the perfect title and stuff, we'll often use that for Instagram, and we'll use that for Facebook, and we'll use that for LinkedIn too, because it's really important to be to the point and succinct, because people are scrolling past fast and they don't have the time in their own minds, in their own brains, to be reading every single word on a tweet or a Facebook post or an Instagram post. Unless it's one of those essays or speeches or something that they want to read, then they're not going to take the time to read it at all, are they?
Yeah, and with our work specifically, we want to get straight to the point. We want to get to what we're telling you.
Yeah.
No hassle, no faff.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we swiftly move on to Instagram and talk a little bit about that, again, it's the same thing. We're encouraged to use hashtags, but a lot more than that of Twitter. I think Ella was saying it was anywhere between 5 and 10, and you can actually use up to 30 hashtags in one post, which is crazy. You imagine how many hashtags you can put in. You just try and think of 30 hashtags off the top of your head. It's
meanwhile, I'm over here on Twitter struggling with 3.
Yeah. So hashtags are the best way to grow on Twitter, along with reposts and shares and collaborative stuff. Hashtags are massive for getting yourself out there and getting the reach and trying to grab more attention for people, getting likes and stuff. The only big issue with the use of Instagram is, for some reason, one of the algorithms states that it scrambles the feed. It doesn't show your latest tweet first, so it doesn't say this guy tweeted 0 seconds ago and this guy's tweeted 5 seconds ago, and doesn't do it in that order. If you tweeted 0 seconds ago, it might end up halfway down somebody's feed when they refreshed it, and that's no good sometimes. Yeah. And often when I've followed certain hashtags and stuff, it doesn't always come up on my feed. It will only come up every other day or something like that. So I guess the best way on Instagram is to keep your post level high, if you want to grow fast, that is. So therefore, Ella decided that it'd be a really good idea for Worthit to look into posting 2, 3, 4 times a day over on Instagram anyway, to try and ramp up that potential for people to notice us. It's a really good idea, obviously, to take your time, sit back, look at every single social media, and try and design your approach differently to every single one, because people don't really want to click through your company and see the same thing over and over again on each website, do they?
No, exactly.
And it's going to get boring after a while. So trying to spice it up and trying to make things different per site will really captivate interest in a better way. People will say, "Oh, have you seen this guy on Twitter? He's well funny," and they say, "Oh no, I have him on Facebook. He talks about this," and it's something to. Well, I guess it's a talking point, isn't it?
Yeah, because I mean, I always hear people saying that the most important thing is consistency and variety.
Yeah.
Like the variety of what you're talking about, but the consistency to keep talking in general.
Yeah.
You don't just do like I do, where you tweet once and you're like, all right, that's me done for the month.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, and that's another big thing, isn't it, with social media, and that consistency is key.
Yeah, it's hard. It's harder than it looks. Like, I know it's just typing whatever's on your mind, but how often do you just sit there and go, I should write what I'm thinking about right now?
Not often. Not often enough, anyway.
Oh, it's tiring. We should both be doing this way more often.
Yeah, absolutely. So if we move on to the final platform that we use in particular, there's many more. There's loads more.
But you got like Reddit, Discord.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, YouTube classes as social media as well.
Yeah.
But sort of not really.
We're focusing mainly on the Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram ones, basically.
Yeah. But the other one that we do actually focus on too is LinkedIn, of course. And LinkedIn being our professional face, where we talk about the projects that we do at the time, and we just post about our blog posts for the month.
It's where we look to investors and other businesses and go, yes, I know JD used Comic Sans in his presentation. However, we are a business, we swear.
He's a pro, I promise. So, yeah.
Hey, your words, not mine.
LinkedIn is really, really important for us as a business to try and gain more work and gain more attention via a more professional base, because if people can see that we have a good, solid company and a good, solid structure, then they'll be more likely to work with us in the future. It's really important that we can try and garner the best camera operators, the best audio guys, the best post-production team as we possibly can at all times. And there's no way better than doing that than over on LinkedIn. If you were to ever try and find like a decent actor or you wouldn't really go to Facebook and go, hey, anybody want to do this film, right?
Unless you're friends with someone you've got in mind.
Yeah.
And you're like, hey, buddy.
That's that's just like, it's the same as the difference between going on, any of the casting websites, or just going and standing outside LJMU Drama Building and shouting, hey, I've got a film going on. And it's a similar kind of thing, isn't it, really? So, yeah, LinkedIn's our really important professional face. So with that being said, let's have a little chat about what we should say and what we shouldn't say. It's a really important area, I guess, because I guess there's certain things in which there's certain approaches in which we could take as an organization or as an individual that will help us grow and develop, and there's certain things that we should steer away from, that we shouldn't say, because it might light us up and we don't want to be lit up.
Yeah, like, I think we mentioned it on a previous episode about etiquette. If someone, like, bothers you, yeah, I would like to tell certain people, you upset me on a public platform in front of people. However, I'm a professional and I'm not a child.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's that face, right? If you got to think about it as social media is like a foghorn. You're just reading into the foghorn and it's getting broadcast across a lot of people. So a lot of people could see it. A lot of people could hear it. And you don't know who or what or when it's going to bite you in the arse. Ever. So...
And not to mention, people aren't stupid. If I say something on my own private account, people know full well that that's the same guy who they're hearing on the podcast for Worthit Productions.
Yeah.
So anything I say now reflects onto Worthit, reflects onto you, reflects onto Ella. If I became very political and was very controversial on anything possible, suddenly I'm a very... person to work with, and we're all very skeptical of whether we want to watch the new Worthit film.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been so very simple, and it can seem absolutely normal in your eyes. You could write it out, and you think, that sounds great.
Yeah.
It might not sound great to 100,000 other people, though.
Yeah, I type in, Tom, go watch Uncut Gems, and suddenly I'm a bad person because someone else doesn't agree that Adam Sandler has potential, Tom.
Yes. Always the Uncut Gems, eh? So yeah, I mean, like, it's a dangerous and rocky road sometimes, isn't it? Especially when you're small and you're not really like, because we as an organization are very small. We don't have a lot of followers between us. We don't have a lot of attention, and at the minute, we're just kind of like speaking to the 3-4 people that listen, and that's fine.
My mum, your mum,
yeah, and
myself as I listen back over this.
in the future, as things grow and as things get bigger, there will be more people that watch us, and there will be more people that look back in time and say, "Oh, I wonder what his first podcast sounded like," or "I wonder what this sounded like," or "I wonder what his first film was like." So you've always got to keep that.
I remember back when I was training for wrestling, someone told me, "Your first match is going to suck. The first anything you do will be bad because it's your first one. You're just trying out, but just get it over with. Because the sooner you do it." Yeah, it might be bad. However, you have more time to now practice and get better over time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So maybe we have 2 or 3 people listening to us now. Down the road, we keep at it. Could be talking to thousands. Yeah. We don't know. If I knew the future, I'm not going to lie to you, Tom. I think I'd have a different job than this if I could tell the future.
Yeah. See, the thing is, you've got to like think about it in a way that if, I guess, you make a film, right, and you know it's terrible, you don't really want to put it out because you know for a fact, it's a massive worry of mine anyway. I'm a massive perfectionist. I wanna think that if it can go on radio, be broadcast on radio, be broadcast on TV or in a cinema, then it's good enough to go on our channel. And if it's anything less than that, I don't want it up there. I don't want it up there because I don't want people to see. But, as you just said then, there's points at which you've got to progress, you've got to develop, you've got to say, hey, I started here last year and look at me now, look where I am at now. If I look at my films that I made back in like first year of university, and then I look at all the stuff that we've made now over the past year, I think, oh my God, there's such a difference. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's a huge difference.
Like, I think the best analogy for it is like mountain climbing.
Mm-hmm.
If you sell for only the best, that's the equivalent of saying, I will only ever touch the mountain when it's the top. You need to start like making moves to climb that mountain. Yeah, sure, you're at the bottom now, but you keep working on it and you'll get to the top.
Yeah.
Nobody gets to the top of the mountain just on the first go.
Yeah, 100%. So let's have a little, I guess, the final topic section of our social media talk today. Let's have a little talk about our social media schedule and why which we post stuff at a certain time and what we do actually end up posting online, of course, as well. We're very careful with a schedule because we want to make sure that we post our most important content on certain days because of reception, and obviously more people look at certain social media platforms at certain times of the day, on certain days of the week as well, due to the rotation of work and school and stuff. Obviously, at the minute, with COVID-19 and the coronavirus pandemic, everybody's at home all the time, so therefore it kind of skews all of our outlook on how we do research into watch times and hotspots and stuff, quite simply due to the fact that everyone's online 24/7 rather than certain people are online at this time and certain people
it's crazy times, especially for our work.
It's hard because we've had to mold and develop so much, and they have to change so much bits and pieces to try and fit it in to home life and working from home. Because it's all good and well saying, oh, you've got laptops, you've got all this tech and all these microphones and stuff, surely you can just sit at home and do the same thing. Well, not really, because it's so much easier.
We tried to connect on Discord earlier, but they have server issues at the present moment.
Yeah, and there's so many different finicky little bits you have to get right. And, we were going to start, actually live filming our episodes and stuff. We're going to start the tutorial series, but none of it can go until we have a studio set up and people to come in and film.
Yeah.
There's loads of different bits and pieces that we're missing that we need to complete it. Otherwise, it won't look good enough, or it won't be good enough. We'll be having massive gaps. Would you like to watch a black screen for 20 minutes? I don't think so. So, there's lots of different bits and pieces we have to bend and do just because of this this crazy pandemic. This crazy pandemic.
It'll be over soon, and one day
Yes.
it's going to be a bad memory. We can just go on
Absolutely.
head held high.
So every day of the week, we're going to try and get onto social media and chat and talk and make sure we make conversations, share stuff that we like and all that jazz to the Worthit pages and making sure that we're on and active with Worthit. That's every day. Every other day of the week, we are posting content that is to do with the stuff that we upload. So that may that be a blog post on the website, the Worthit podcast, or Look Closer, the episodes that are coming this weekend. They're all non-filmed stuff. They're all pre-recorded stuff via microphone. There's not much actually going on visually, apart from obviously on Look Closer, we analyze films and stuff. So there will be the odd pictures of films as we montage through and talk about certain parts and certain scenes as we break them down.
And even sometimes we'll go back on ourselves and see something we've made already and just, hey, do you remember On Call? Do you remember Interview?
Absolutely. So we try and specifically market all of our most important bits and pieces to certain days. So we know that Wednesday normally, as we were, before the pandemic and stuff, Wednesdays are kind of a big day because it's hump day, it's the middle of the week. People are really heavily trafficking towards the likes of Facebook and Twitter around about 6 p.m, 5 p.m. in the evening. So that's why we do a 6 p.m. upload of the Worthit podcast, because it's what we want people to see, we want people to listen to on all of the platforms. So therefore, we kind of like to target our audience towards the Worthit podcast. Fridays we leave open for our big films that come out and release. So we've left it open for the likes of EXN, the trailers for all of our short films, and of course all of our short films that do come out on a Friday. Saturdays we're going to leave open for the tutorial series. Thursdays is Look Closer, and Sunday is going to be our new show, This Jest In. So we got Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, the big weekend days when everyone's at home, when everyone's on social media. And of course, we leave Monday and Tuesday then open to doing throwback posts and appreciation posts and trying to get more attention from other organizations as well. Because that's a big thing. Something that's really big with the growth of a social media platform or a social media channel for that matter, is trying to collaborate with people who are either on a similar level to you or a little bit bigger, because trying to share and followers and fans will really, really, really help subscriber growth and will really help follower growth. But yeah, that's a little bit more about how Worthit do social media, I guess. JD, have you got anything to add?
Go watch Uncut Gems with Adam Sandler.
Yes, go watch Uncut Gems with Adam. You're gonna meet Adam Sandler one day, face to face. He's gonna go, "Thank you, JD. Thank you."
He's gonna thank me personally because I got you to watch it.
Yeah. Not only that, but you mentioned it so many times in the podcast that about 40 million people watched it instead. Because he turns to me and goes, "Damn you for not watching it, Tom.
You non-believer."
It's been 7 years. You still haven't seen it. It's remastered in 4K. You still haven't seen it.
When we have the budget, we're gonna hire Adam Sandler one day
And remaster Uncut Gems, so I have to read the script.
Not even that. I don't care what the role is. We gotta hire Adam Sandler one day.
Yes, and his company. So, yes, thank you very much for taking the time and the effort to listen to this podcast. This is episode number 12 of the Worthit podcast. Thank you very much, JD, for appearing on the show once again as my wonderful co-host.
Thanks for having me, giving me something to break up the day in this lockdown.
No problem at all. So if you want to check out any of the other podcasts, of course, they're available on the playlist. They'll be down in the link in the description below. If you also want to click on our channel, you can see all of our other content that we have, all of our short films that, we actually filmed at the start of the year before we got locked down. And there will be obviously more content coming in the future as the bands start to relax, so we can get out and film some more bits and pieces. And as the weather gets nicer too. Oh, it's so nice outside right now, but we're in here. But hey, here we are. Yeah. So thank you very much for listening and watching, guys. And I will speak to you all in next week's episode. Bye, JD. Bye.
And stop recording.